Okay, now in this particular lab, we are going to start with Azure Event Grid resource. Now, when you're going to use Event Grid, it's basically going to help you to divert the event configuration from event sources to event handlers. And basically, Event Grid is going to be placed in between this event sources and event handlers. In this lab, we are going to see that how we can provision Azure Event Grid and then how you can use it with our own application. So let's get started with this. As you can see right now, I have logged into my Azure subscription with the lab environment, and in separate tab, if I showcase, there is one particular resource group which is already created inside this lab. So this is my resource group, which is as of now empty. We'll do certain steps and we'll create some resources inside this. In order to do that, I'm going to my first tab of my browser where also Azure portal is open, and I'm going to launch my Cloud Shell. Because I'm following this lab, in the right side section is showing me that you can just open Cloud Shell in the bash. So I'm choosing bash. No storage account is required. And I'm choosing my subscription and clicking on apply. Now it's going to be a very straightforward and simple code, which is also going to be developed in this part of this process. But yes, we'll do all this development inside the Cloud Shell itself. So we don't need to worry about some complex Visual Studio code right now. In the right side section is showing me that you create a new resource group is the first step, but I really don't need to do this. So this AZ group create is something which I don't need to do because I already have a resource group, which I told you. So we are just going to skip this step and we'll move forward to next step, which is we are going to associate with our event grid configurations with that. So basically, we have to create something which is known as event grid topic. But in order to do that, I will make sure that I'll execute these commands later on. First, I'm going to understand and customize this command using the notepad file. So I'm just putting this first command here, which is basically creating one variable called rnum with some kind of a number associated with this. This is basically just for the lab environment configuration, which they are doing to keep this resource unique. Then they are specifying location east-us topic name, which is basically an event grid topic which we are going to create. It's going to be my topic, event grid topic, and then some kind of a unique number will be associated with this. Then site name and then site URL. These are just variables which we are trying to create. These variables are going to be used in the further commands when we are going to create event grid topic and the site association with that. But before we do that thing, we have to register two providers actually. So Microsoft.EventGrid and Microsoft.EventGrid with registration state is also a command which we are checking to check whether this is successfully registered or not. Now these commands we are going to fire first. So let me just go to my Cloud Shell and paste it. Variables are created, registration is done, and that's why it's showing me registered. So I think this command got successfully executed. Now if we move forward, after this commands is actually showing me create a topic in the event grid. And in order to do that thing, we will execute this command, which is AZ event grid topic create. And we are going to pass on those parameters which we have configured before this. So it's just paste as a plain text, hitting enter, and within few seconds, the event grid topic will be created with this. It's in progress. Let's wait for a few seconds. Now remember, once this event grid topic is created, we need to configure our event sources and our event handlers. Basically, we have to create a message endpoint configuration after this. We'll do this thing, but before that, let's just wait for this to complete, and then we will cross-check whether this event grid topic is created inside our resource group or not. Yes, it's showing me provisioning state is succeeded, and if I cross-check this by going to the resource group, I have my event grid topic, which is visible here. So this is perfectly fine. Now, moving forward, I'm going to clear this command screen first, and then I'm going to move to my next command, which is basically going to do deployment group create. So this is going to create a new deployment group. AZ deployment group create is specifying the template URI, which is taking one particular JSON file from this. Now, if I just take this JSON file, and if I put it in the browser, you'll understand that this is a separate JSON file which we are using in this lab environment. If I hit the JSON, this is a full ARM template kind of a deployment which is configured here. And This is available inside Azure Event Grid Viewer kind of a folder of this Git repository. So if I go into that separately, I'll show you this. This is my Azure samples inside that Azure Event Grid. So I think let me just remove this and you'll be able to see that. Okay, sorry, not main also. Yeah, okay, it's not showing me here, but maybe I have to just put the URL with the Azure samples actually. So that's fine. Now, this is something which is that deploy.json, which is a template which we are going to use in this deployment. Let me just copy this. And basically what this is doing, this is creating one event viewer kind of an app service, which is basically going to show me if the event is getting generated with the help of event sources. So let's just wait for this. If this is done, we'll be able to see an app service, which is basically going to be used as event viewer. Now, if you cross-check this template, it's actually using some kind of a Docker image inside this. So it's using a Azure app service with some hosting plan, and inside that they are specifying the parameter configurations with this. I think this is the repository. Yeah, it's there in the template itself. The URL I was giving earlier was wrong. This is the actual repository which is actually having all those configurational code. Yeah, this is the one, Azure Event Grid Viewer. Okay, and this is the one which is actually having the full JSON file, and it also has the configuration of the custom deployment template with that. So this is it. Let's wait for this deployment to complete, and then we'll see that whether we have the app service or not. Okay, provisioning is successfully completed. Now, if I just go to my resource group and if I refresh, you'll see that I got one event grid viewer site and it's deployed on this app service plan. So I'll just go to the site right now. I'll hit the URL of that. So I'm just going to click on browse, and that's going to show me an event grid viewer site. Yes, you can see right now there are no events which are visible here, but if I have any viewers associated with the endpoint of this Azure Event Grid viewer, which is this one, then I'll be able to see this here. So that's what we're going to do in the next step. So this is my handler side, basically, not the event sources side. Okay, this is my handler side, which is going to capture that event, and then we'll be able to see that actually. Let me go back to my Cloud Shell. I'll clear the screen. And now the next step which we need to do is we are going to subscribe to the topic. And in order to do that, we will have another piece of command which will execute. So I'm putting a site URL inside this first, and then using that URL, we are going to subscribe to this. Now, let me just do one more extra thing here, which is the site URL. I think we already provided site URL. Yes, I think we have already provided the site URL, which is with the site name. And the site name is something which we have already provided in this. So I think this will work fine. Let me just copy this command. I'll paste it here and I'll hit enter. Now, while this is happening, you can see they are saying if you're creating an event subscription from a topic, Azure as the value kind property, you must validate your webhook endpoint by following the steps. So if my webhook endpoint is perfectly configured with this, which is associated with my site name and endpoint configuration with that, then it's going to work fine. Now, as of now, while this is going on, I'm just going into my event grid viewer, and you can see this is the correct site name which we have given in that. That's why the validation event is also captured here. So it's showing me that my validation event with the validation code and configuration is showing me the configuration is detected here. So basically, this means that I'm connecting to the correct event grid viewer. It worked fine. It worked well actually. And that means that my event grid viewer is successfully configured with this. Now, if the source and handler both are configured with this one, I'm going back to my resource group where I have three resources, and basically I have my custom event grid topic, and this topic is basically going to help me to connect with any kind of application or resources which are there. So this is my custom event grid topic. The name of the subscription is topic subscription, which is also configured through that command. And you can see right now, this is actually my topic event grid topic, which we have configured here. So this is perfectly fine. I'm going back to my Cloud Shell, and now it's saying that you create a new .NET Console application in which you're going to write a code to send an event associated with this. So let's do this thing now. I'm going to clear the screen. I think I need to switch to the classic version of the Cloud Shell first. Inside the classic version, I'm going to execute these commands. Like the first one is make directory and then go inside that. Next one is create a new console application inside that. And if the console application is created, then next one is we are going to add the packages. First, we are adding azure.messaging.eventgrid, and then next we are going to add .NET environment. Once this is done, again, I'm going to clear the screen, and this step number 1, 2, 3 is done. We'll move forward to next one, in which we will just type two commands, event grid topic show, and we are going to specify the name of this thing. Now, in this case, it's showing me that the argument --name expect one argument. So we have to specify the topic name in this. So I think let's do this thing. Instead of passing this here, we are just going to prepare it first in the Notepad file. So let me just go to my Notepad file. I'll click on these two commands. Now you can see this is looking for topic name kind of a variable, but it was there in my original Cloud Shell actually. So I have to take those variable name first, which I will take it from here on the top. So this is, I can take all this actually once again. So paste it, hit enter, and now I'm going to try this command. AZ Event Grid topic show. Done. And it's showing me API/events is what I have to specify in that. And then the second one, which is basically AZ Event Grid topic key list. And in that, if I just hit enter, it's going to show me that key, the secret, which is associated with that. So basically this endpoint and this key is something which is going to be useful in our next step. And that's the reason we have taken this. Now, as of now, I'm just going to do one thing. I'm going to copy this endpoint, which is generated based on the first command. And then I also copy this key, and I'll keep both of them in my Notepad file. I'm going to use this thing in the next step. But yeah, this is how it is. In the next step, it's showing me that you just edit the environment file. So I'm just going to go and edit the environment file. I'll put these values inside that topic endpoint, in which I have to put my topic endpoint, which is this one, so that it can connect with my event grid topic. And to authenticate this request, I'm going to provide, it's done. I'm going to save it. I'm going to close this. So Control S, Control Q, it's done. And now we are going to see how we can edit the code. So let's go to program.cs. Program.cs is just having a dummy console.write line inside this, which I don't want. And instead of that, we are going to provide a proper code configuration. So we are going to add this code using a Notepad file first. This is my end-to-end code, which is getting typed right now inside this. Let me explain this while the typing is going on. So you can see initially we have some namespace, which are obviously based on the packages which we have added. Then we are loading the environment variables from the env file. And then we are trying to start an asynchronous process to send an event to the event grid. Using this particular configuration, we want to just wait for the result which is coming with that. The actual logic is inside the process async method, which is having a full logic inside this. And this is the one which we are starting here. Okay, now inside this, first we are trying to retrieve the values of my endpoint and key from those values which we have given in the environment file. After this, we are checking if the required environment variables are set or not. And then if it is set, we are just going to use the next thing, which is this one, which is basically going to publish a new event into that event grid using the event publisher client. This is the main class of event grid, and we are going to create instance of that class. Using the client object which we have created, we'll be able to send a new data inside that. While sending the event grid data, we are specifying some key value pairs like subject, event type, data version, and in the data, we are just specifying hello event grid, and we can put whatever we want. After this, this is going to send the event data using this method called send event asynchronously, and that's exactly what we have to put it in our code. I'm just copying this, pasting it inside the program.cs file, saving the file, closing the file by Control Q. So editor is closed now, and that means that this code is ready to be executed. Now I'm just going to use next command, which is AZ login, which basically allows me to authenticate myself using a device authentication. So I'll just hit this URL, copy the device code. I'll paste my device code inside that so that this device will be authenticated to use my Azure subscription. And once this is done, yes, I think I need to select my subscription. If I have multiple, I have to choose the right subscription. This is the only subscription which I have, and this is it. So this is done. All I need to do is one last command, which is .NET run, and logically this should send the event to Event Grid. And if it is sending the event to Event Grid, I should be able to see that thing in this event viewer. You can see the moment I switch to this, I'm able to see this. If I go back to this, event sent successfully, and this event is received by the viewer. And if I expand the first one now, it's showing me hello Event Grid. This is something which is a message which we have sent from that. And the same way, I can run this particular code multiple times. I can go to this. I can say that, let's say I want to edit the program.cs file. Now I'm not going to say hello to Event Grid. I'm going to say bye-bye. And if I save this file, and if I run this again, it's going to show me that the event sent successfully and the event is captured. Now it's showing me bye-bye Event Grid. So it's how simple it is, and it's super fast actually. So it's just routing the event with your own customized data which is happening. That's a source. This is a handler, which is right now just viewing this event inside this Event Grid viewer application. When I delete this, or if I refresh this Event Grid viewer, then it's going to be deleting all those things. So after that, if you want to receive it, you have to go back to this and you have to run the application once again. So remember, events are routed from here to there, but the moment you refresh this Event Grid viewer, it's going to clear all the events from that. So that is how it is working. Make sure when you try this lab sample, you're not going to refresh this Event Grid viewer application until you send the event actually. So that's it for this particular lab. I hope you understood the concept. I hope you understood one end we have event sources, other end we have event handlers, and how these are working. That's it for this. I'm going to clean up this lab resources, but for you, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.